Hello, and welcome to
welcome
Love
to Love
Lighting
Lighting
Academy.
Academy.
Today,
We're going to talk about the difference between
some terms
glare
you should be
and
familiar with if
brightness
you're
and light levels.
looking at a lighting project or
It's kind of funny,
starting
but
to
we do a lot of
figure out what
small
you want to
business direct
design.
install
This is not an
programs.
in-depth
And
lighting fundamentals
people often
training,
confuse
rather
glare
a familiarization
with
of
highlight
some of the
levels.
terms in the
Older wall
lighting
packs
universe.
produce a lot of visual discomfort and disabling glare. But many
When we
people
talk
like it.
about
They think
the
that it
lighting
makes their
universe,
store look brighter.
Some of
a
these terms,
tendency with dark
lumens,
sky
foot candles,
controls to
lumens
stop
per watt,
that
color
stray
temperature,
light from annoying
CRI.
people.
These are all terms
and
that you're going to hear
creating
when
light pollution that
you're
goes
looking
up into
at
the air. But what does it really mean? What is disabling
glare? So I thought we'd go over some of the
and this type
core
of brightness.
metrics
Let's take a look at
of lighting, the fundamentals, so to speak. So we have lumens, luminous flux. Lumens is the total quantity of light emitted by a power source.
Commercial exterior lighting design,
unlike
for
other
and
metrics like
freestanding
wattage,
restaurants and stores,
which is more
lighting in
about
urban
power.
areas.
Lumens is about the light,
talk
and it's different
about
than foot
lighting
candles.
and
Lumens is
cutoffs,
the amount of
and
light and that
balancing
comes out of a
safety of
fixture. Foot
customers
candles
and energy
refers to
efficiency
the amount of light delivered to
and
the
just
workplace.
good quality light.
And you can't
When
get
we
the
look
foot
at
candles
these
without
types of buildings,
lumens, and then luminous
canopy lighting,
efficacy.
walkway
The
illumination.
efficiency of the fixture.
They're there for a
So
reason.
efficacy
Slip and
measures
falls,
how efficiently the
you
light
don't
source
want people to get in,
into
in this case,
an
from a liability
fixture, perhaps,
standpoint by falling over or
is
hurting
at
themselves.
delivering that
You also
light,
want to prevent
the lumens
shadows
that
and
the
crimes.
light source
And a lot of
generates
people
to
think
the
of
work.
glare as deterring,
modern
if you will.
fixtures, are typically 100 to
But
160
as we
lumens
look
per
at a lot
watt,
of the new rebate programs
which
that
is
are out
much
there,
better
many
than
of
what
them
we
are
had
insisting
only
upon
a few
dark
short years
sky
ago.
compliant lights.
Color
That don't
temperature
have light pollution, where
CCT,
your
as you
store
may
is
see,
next to a
correlated
residential
color
area and
temperature.
people are having
It
difficulty
describes
sleeping
the
because
color
light is
of white
protruding
light
through their
measured on the
bedroom
Kelvin
windows,
scale.
or you're getting that glow.
Many
of,
times, if
of
you're
light
shopping
that's
in a Home
going
Depot,
up,
whatever, and you're just
and
looking at
preventing you
LED
from
bulbs,
really
they
seeing
make
the
call them
stars.
warm white or
So
daylight.
when we
or
look at
cool
wall
white,
packs, and that's pretty common.
they're actually on this Kelvin
out there,
schedule.
and
And
as
as
you
look
at
more
this type
expensive
of strip
solutions,
mall or
tubes,
convenience
fixtures,
stores
you're
or
going to get a
whatnot,
broader and
they
more
cast the
subtle
light in all
choice of
directions.
ranges, 2,700 anywhere to
This light could be
6,500.
blinding you as a driver, maybe as you're
daylight-looking
pulling into the
color,
parking
which
space
is
in a place
probably
like
used
this.
more in industrial.
This glare
was
can
being
be
used a lot
dangerous, right?
outdoor.
And
The cool
perhaps,
daylight type of color,
make you not
it's
see
a
a
little more
pedestrian
efficient.
or
When we're
hit
warming
another
up the
car
colors,
or
we
something
lose
like
a little
that.
of efficiency.
And then, of course,
and it was very popular,
to
but
this
there's a
sky
little bit of
glow,
pushback against it now, where
light
people
trespass to
don't
surround
want
the
that
area.
harsh
So,
light.
and then
In
the
some
hot
outdoor
spots
environments.
below the fixture.
So we
are
have
also an issue.
3 pillars of layered lighting.
When we look
have
at light,
the ambient
it's
layer
not that
of lighting,
brightness that we're
which kind of gives you your background
It's the foot
illumination.
candles that
So,
are reaching
kind
the
of
ground
for
the
think
plane
of it
where
for
you're
your
going to be
kitchen
walking
at home. You may have some
theoretically
hi-hats
down at
in
the
the
surface,
ceiling,
right?
and they
So we want to
illuminate
measure the illumination
lighting
reaching
very,
in
the
the
light
space
straight light
overall
very
that's
evenly.
hitting you in the
You
eyes.
wouldn't want it to be
blind
super bright,
like that you might
and then
need
color
for
temperature
reading fine
is
print
a
all the
big
time because it
a
would be
big
a
factor,
factor, believe it or not, in
This
outdoor
ambient
lighting.
layer
We saw that
provides
when LEDs
that
came
overall
out, a lot of people
illumination
were
in the
going to
space.
5,000
Then we have the
Kelvin
task
lighting
layer. Think of
because
that like your
the sharpness,
perhaps your
made it
kitchen
seem like
fixture
crisp
or
and bright
over the
out there.
table.
But
You may
a lot of
have a
street lighting
pendant
projects
mounted
now that
fixture,
they've come to the end of their life
over
are
the
being
table
replaced
or
with
a desk
warm
lamp
color
on your
temperatures.
desk. This is
And
the
people are
task layer,
realizing
and
this
this
gives
gives
you
you
high pressure
the
sodium
brighter light
has low
you
color
need
rendering
to read
to
or work or do
color
something
rendering
in
ability.
particular.
And
then you have your
the
accent
warmer
layer,
light made it more
which might add
comfortable
contrast,
and easier for people out there.
And then lumens per watt,
highlight
of course,
something like you may
have a
that's
light
what we're
on
trying
a
to do is
picture
save
over your
energy,
fireplace, right?
and not
you want to really
highlight,
not
use a higher wattage
or
than we
maybe
have
there's
to.
a brick wall
So
and you're trying to
now
give
we
it
talk
some
about glare
contrast
versus
by shining
actual
light down and showing
measured light
the
level,
physical
and this
pieces
is the
of brick.
visual
that would be
acuity
your
paradox,
accent
I like to call it, right? High glare,
when we look at
in
a
many
general
people's
rule
minds
of
equals
thumb
high
of foot
illumination.
candles, and again,
Not
this
true.
is not
When an
lumens,
unshielded
this is foot
fixture
candles,
goes directly into a driver or
which is the
pedestrian's
measured
eyes,
light
the pupil
on a work
contracts.
The measured
to
light
protect
in,
the retina.
on a
And
desk
when
or
it
in an
does that,
office these
it's
days
allowing
is
less light
probably
in,
around
you're having
40
less
foot candles.
difficulty I remember when I started
seeing.
out,
And
we
this
were
is
probably 50,
something when we get
60
into
foot
interior
candles. Everybody
spaces or
toned that
parking
back a
garages,
bit
we
with
call min to max
computers and everything we work
uniformity, where
on.
we're
You know,
trying to keep
a
the light
lot of it
uniform
was
so
number
that you
two
don't get
pencil
bright
back
dark,
in the
bright
early
dark,
days, right? And
and
reading
your eye isn't
for
constantly
accounting work,
contracting
but now,
and
you know,
expanding.
a good number is 40, and
I
even less than
testified as an
that is
expert witness
acceptable in
in a
some office
murder
environments where there's task lighting
a murder
and
trial.
they want to have a
And
little bit
one
more
of the things that
visual
was
contrast.
evident,
And you notice
was
on this slide
that
400
the
lux,
very bright
so 40
disabling
foot
glare
candles
coming
or
from the
400
security
lux. That's
lighting
the
in this
same
high crime
thing.
area.
Lux is more commonly used in
Blinded
Europe.
The person who was
In
murdered
the United
and
States
stabbed
we
from
seem to
the
talk foot
oncoming
candles,
attacker,
but they're both the same
because
thing. And if you have a light
theoretically,
meter,
we could
you likely have a switch
but it would
to
be a switch
switch
between the two.
their
Lux
would have been
and foot
protecting itself,
candles.
and the eye would have
And
and then we look at
so
lighting
this
quality,
we call this
you know, for the
disability
applications that you may look.
high angle
We
light.
talked about
scattering
color
around
rendering index.
It
So
creates blind spots for
the higher
drivers.
the color rendering
There's
index,
discomfort.
the better
The
the light renders the colors of
eye
the
strain,
objects that
headaches,
are in there.
visual discomfort
So,
for shoppers.
You know,
They
retail is
discourage
often
prolonged
talked about. You
stays
want to
from
make that
your
shirt
shopping
look
environment
nicer.
there. So,
You're
trying
have
to
a
make
high
it seem
CRI,
safe.
but
It could
really we're at
very
supercritical art galleries.
uncomfortable.
You know,
So,
could be healthcare.
the IS, Illuminating
educational
Engineering
spaces,
Society,
anywhere,
has what's called the bug
you want
rating
things
standard.
to look
You may have
better, and
heard of
isn't
it.
that really
And
everywhere?
bug does not have
These days
anything to do with
we're
bugs
blessed with
getting into
higher
the light
CRIs,
fixture.
and most of the
it's
products that
backlight,
we're using,
uplight, and
so we
glare.
really
So
don't have to worry about
backlight,
reduced
the guy
CRIs
would
just to
spill
save
back
energy.
behind it if it's a
You may
pull-mounted
remember,
light into a
if you're an
residential
old
area.
timer like me, when low
Uplight
pressure
is how
sodium
much light is
was
going
the
up
most
into the
efficient light
sky,
source, but it
causing
was
light
a dark yellow.
pollution and
And they
glare.
would use it, for
The angle of light that
some
causes
roadway,
visual distress.
applications just
The
to
older
save energy, but
style
everything was
fixtures,
monochrome.
and this, when I
red
say
car,
older
yellow
style,
car,
I'm talking
brown
about
car,
even
they all look the
LED,
same
and you
under
can
the
buy
light.
LED fixtures with
High
a
color
glass,
rendering,
a wall
we
pack
kind of
with
take
a
for granted
non-cut
these
off
days that
style,
most of the sources
control. And this was
are very high
the
color.
norm in the
Where
HIV
might you use
world
one
with metal
color
halide and
temperature
high-pressure
over another?
sodium
Well,
was
the warmer
predecessor.
colors,
High
3,500
glare
to
ratings,
4,000 Kelvin.
15 to 30% of the
that's
light is
probably
wasted
the
skyward,
most
and hot
popular
spots
colors in
and
the
shadows
commercial
are very
spectrum.
common. Today's
Offices,
cutoff architectural
seminars,
fixtures
classrooms,
are very low glare.
where we get
Some people
into
mistake this for
more
not being
demanding
as bright. They don't see the glare of the
applications. We may
fixtures
want
as
to
they
go to
look
that
at their
90
store,
CRI.
and they say,
And
"Oh
once
no,
we're getting into
this is
hotels,
no good. This is,
hospitality, lounges,
not safe."
warming
But
it
when
up
you look at the ground, you look at the visibility. It's actually even
probably
foot
more
candle
common.
distribution
Reminds us of
asphalt.
the old incandescent
And that's what
downlights,
you
the warmer colors,
So,
the colors we use.
What would you
in our
do if you
home.
want to
And then as we get
potentially
into
look
healthcare,
at your outdoor lighting?
detailed fine
You
work,
do a
jewelry
nighttime audit.
stores,
Look at
examination
existing
rooms.
foot candles,
That's
glare
where the
sources,
cooler colors,
see what kind of fixtures you really
know,
have.
are
And then if you want to
probably more
look at
prevalent.
what would it take
And
to replace it
when
with
we look at
cut-off
the
fixtures,
efficacy,
you can
this
go to
is
your
the
distributor or
efficiency
contractor and
of
have them
the
generate
the
a 3D
technologies that we
photometric
might be
layout.
using. These
You want to
modern
target
LED
like 2 to 5
luminaires
foot candles
are north of
average
140
with 0%
lumens per
uplight,
watt.
and that's
What
probably
does
where
this
you're going to
mean
get
to
a
you? Or
rebate
to
as
us
well.
and the energy
You can
savings.
probably get a nice
linear
midstream
fluorescent
rebate.
T5,
Replace those
90 lumens per
legacy
watt, and that was
fixtures
kind of
with
where
full cutoff
fluorescent maxed out,
luminaires, and you'll
compact
see
fluorescence.
a big
Where we used to have those in our home.
in
We're 60
comfort
lumens
and
per
quality
watt,
of
and
light
the old
in your
incandescent
facility.
bulb, which is
As
all we
always, I
had,
throw some,
back in the day, early
throw
on.
some references up here
15 lumens per
of the
watt. So
pictures
it's
that
pretty
I have had in this
extraordinary how
presentation.
quickly
So I hope
we have
today
really
you might
moved
learn
up
something
this
about
efficacy
disabling glare and the moral of the
few
story.
references
Glare
here for
is
some
not
of the
good.
photos that
Thank you
were
so
shown
much.
in today's presentation.